and see the end, or if a storm bends the weather, watch it climb. As history burns bright in new eyes, let it burn, let it wash over deep, deep fire. I see fire. It's burning for the answers, and I know fire. It glows brighter for a new day when it's fair, when it's fueled with the birth of a dawning. Watch it burn, watch it glow, we can't stop the light. But what if it hurts? Fallen ashes won't cry out in mourning, and pillars must break. If they were a planet on false promise, so let it burn. Might our eyes adjust to a new light? Let it burn. It's time to get something true right. I see fire. It's burning for the answers, and I know fire. It glows brighter for a new day, and when it's fair, when it's fueled with the birth of a dawning. Watch it burn, watch it glow, can't stop the light, can't stop the light, can't stop the light, it can't stop the light, can't stop the light, can't stop the light, it can't stop the light.
Whoever you are, whoever you love, and wherever you are on life's journey, you are welcome here. Unitarian Universalist congregations affirm and promote 7 principles, which we hold as strong values and moral guides. The first, the inherent worth and dignity of every person. The second, justice, equity, and compassion in human relations. The third, acceptance of one another and encouragement to spiritual growth in our congregations. The fourth, a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. The fifth, the right of conscience and the use of the democratic process within our congregations and in society at large. The sixth, the goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. And the seventh, respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part.
Good morning. Welcome to Shawnee Mission Unitarian Universalist Church. Whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are in your life's journey, you are welcome here.
Hello, my name is Christian Watkins. I am the campus pastor and director at the Ecumenical Campus Ministry in Manhattan, Kansas, at Kansas State University. It is a pleasure to be here with you today. I have many fond memories of working with the Universalist Unitarian Fellowship in Manhattan and working with John Alou, and so it is just so exciting to get to connect with you all here digitally, but certainly connecting in certain important ways. My background, I attended Yale University and studied as a Christian minister there. My emphasis was in Middle Eastern politics and religion, and then I transitioned to studying pastoral care and theology, so I have a diverse background. I'm from Kansas originally, and my interests in ministry are vast, and but one of the things that I hold dear to my training and to the things that I believe in is this word ecumenical. And ecumenical actually is from the Latin root of to come from the earth, and in the Christian tradition it has often meant to work together along theological lines of difference within the Christian tradition, but what we practice at ECM is a wider understanding of ecumenism, or this sense of being connected across religious and non-religious lines of and ways to connect around that diversity and seeking meaning and purpose in our life. That's a big part of who we are and who we try to be in this world. So thank you for having me. Today I would like for us to think a little bit about a passage from Acts on the story of Pentecost. One of the traditions that we hold at ECM that I really love and hope to share with you today. On Fridays we have a vegan meal together where farmers and students who grow food from the local community get together and cook a meal on Thursday night, and then on Friday we eat together. We choose vegan food because it's inclusive. It allows our Muslim neighbors to join us who are halal and our Jewish neighbors. It allows for those who have allergies, I have several, to participate, and it allows for those who are not comfortable eating meat for a variety of reasons to also be a part of that conversation in that space. And one of the ways that we try and celebrate and honor difference in our community and see that as a gift is by having a singing bowl. So during our meal, we will have a moment for announcements where we will ring people into announcements and also into a time of silence where folks can just be quiet and listen to the sounds in the room or think a little bit about something that we raise up in that particular meal together. And so I would like for us to ring our time in together, that we might be living as a people of plenty, that we might be mindful of the world around us, of the people who are in this particular space too, and holding the many ways that we are community to each other in our hearts and minds as we enter into a service.
Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night. Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night.
Please join me as we light our chalice and affirm that love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve humanity in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with one another.
Welcome to your Rainbow Altar Time!
Even though we can't come to church right now, we can support our own spiritual practices by creating sacred space around us. This is a practice for the kiddos of all all ages.
We encourage you to use a small surface in your space to place precious objects, such as your at-home chalice, photos of your loved ones, or meaningful quotes.
An altar allows you to create a peaceful spot and can aid in your sense of safety and belonging in your space. It doesn't have to take up much room and is just a thing of meaning and beauty. It is a reminder that we are still a congregational community, and it's something that we can all do together, even though we are apart.
Each week, we, as an intergenerational community, are invited to work on our own personal altars together. As the weeks go by, we will add a different color of the rainbow to aid you in your spiritual practice. The rainbow represents the diversity, resilience, and beauty of the world, and so we add the color blue to our rainbow altar. You can write a quote you love in a blue marker, or cut out a shape from a blue piece of paper. You can put a blue object, light a blue candle, or just put a cup of water on there. This cup of water also satisfies the third natural element we are adding to our altar.
The color blue symbolizes water, calmness, sadness, coldness, and being refreshed. As you add to your rainbow altar with the color blue, you can ask yourself, what are you thirsty for in life? You could draw a picture of waves.
And what helps you when you are feeling blue? Do you know someone who is feeling blue whose name you could write down and place on this altar?
This is the time in our service where we expand the caring love of our community, where we draw to heart and mind those in our midst who are suffering and those who feel the sweet relief of their burdens easing. Today, we think of those who need to chill. Everyone who could benefit from just breathing and letting go a little bit. Remembering that like ripples on the water, the vibes we make could be peaceful and refreshing, and that would be enough in itself. Let us take a moment and draw to heart and mind someone who we know is struggling to relax, to find peace, to let go. And let us send them a well wish, a thought, or a prayer. We give our love to those untangling themselves from relationships that no longer serve them. We grieve for the loss of energy and time that chronic illness takes on the body and mind, and our hearts go out to all who are struggling to make ends meet. We extend our gratitude to people who make caring for children their primary spiritual practice, and we join in wonder with all people who are bravely facing their final days. And as always, we rejoice over the exquisite beauty in this world, as small or life-changing as each piece of beauty might be. I invite us into a moment of reflection by putting our feet flat on the floor, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Just noticing how your body feels today. Noticing if this is easy, accessible, difficult, impossible feeling. And just notice how your breath feels flowing in and out of your stomach, your rib cage. Turn the corners of your lips up. Breathe into that smile. Remember that we are made mostly of water. And here is a reading from Thich Nhat Hanh. Water flows high in the mountains. Water runs deep in the earth. Miraculously, water comes to us and sustains all life. Water and sun green these plants. When the rain of compassion falls, even a desert becomes an immense green ocean.
Today we're reading from Acts chapter 2, verses 1 through 13 in the New Testament of the Christian Bible. As a minister who works with students who are struggling with religious trauma, I want to acknowledge the importance of people honoring where they're at in their journey. If you've been a part of a religious community, a Christian community particularly, that has used this passage or others in the Bible as a bludgeoning passage, know that it was good of you to find a community and space where you feel like you can be yourself authentically and be out of a toxic environment, and that you need to be where you can be supported, and that's absolutely so important. So I invite you to hear this passage from a space, maybe not from a space of newness, if you can, and a space of curiosity, and for maybe a new look at what Pentecost can mean and look like in the context of scarcity and plentifulness. When the feast of Pentecost came, they were all together in one place. Without warning, there was a sound like a strong wind, gale force. No one could tell where it came from. It filled the whole building. Then, like a wildfire, the Holy Spirit spread through their ranks, and they started speaking in different languages as the Spirit prompted them. There were many Jews staying in Jerusalem just then, devout pilgrims from all over the world. When they heard the sound, they came out on the run. When they heard, one after another, their language being spoken, they were thunderstruck. They couldn't for the life of them figure out what was going on, and kept saying, "How come we're hearing them talk in our various languages?" This passage is an important passage for the Christian tradition. I think in many ways, many groups and communities consider it the birth of the Christian church. It was the beginning of a moment that Christians mark as where the Holy Spirit descends into the community, and often it is interpreted as a very joyous moment. Often it is interpreted as a divine mandate to go and convert the world to Christianity. And I want to take a moment to interrogate that particular theological perspective, because when we hear this idea of, a few thousand years later, that Christianity was meant to be this global religious tradition, empire has been an integral part to that, and deviates tremendously from the teachings of Jesus. And so I think that it is important to acknowledge that this passage has been used in that way, and that is not what we're going to be thinking about, but certainly needs to be acknowledged. I also think that there's a shortcoming in that interpretation, because it misses what's happening in that moment, in that critical moment in the community, particularly around the transition of Jesus being present with his followers, and then to a place where the Holy Spirit is present with the community. There is a lot that happens in a very short amount of time in Acts. So the passage that we read is the Pentecost moment, and in this moment you'll often see depictions in art of tongues of fire being anointed on people's heads, and you'll see images of flames coming from the sky, symbolizing the Holy Spirit. And I think that moment is this moment of recognizing that there are people from different backgrounds and languages and positions in life that are kind of standing next to you as community and neighbor. And so many people's eyes were opened to that in this moment of Pentecost. This is an important moment, not only because of kind of this recognition of what it means to be in a community that is bigger than what you might have imagined, but immediately preceding that, the community is in a space of fear and concern because Jesus has, in some traditions and passages, ascended into heaven, and others he is no longer with them. And what it must be like to follow someone who has been so outspoken against government violence, been so outspoken against oppression of poor people, been so outspoken against the belittlement of women and the harm done to widows and orphans on behalf of the government because of their social status, to follow someone who is so adamant about accepting children, and then to suddenly have that philosophical safety net, that voice that has kind of inspired many to think critically about the social system that they're in, to just be gone. And when that happens, you kind of have, I like to think of it as having a couple of options. One of those options is to live into this moment of fear and to say, what are we going to do? We've lost what we had. Jesus is not here presently with us. He's gone. Everything is going to fall apart. We have to save everything we can. This is kind of, let's lock down on what we have and preserve it for all it's worth. And I think of that as a scarcity mindset. I think of it as a scarcity mindset because you no longer are looking around and saying, what do we have to offer? What are the messages that we have to offer? What are the resources we as people have to offer? How are we making an impact in the world that we're living in? How are we making an impact on the daily lives of the people that are invested in this conversation? And you just say, we're going to take what we can get, and that's as good as it gets. This looks often in organizations like churches or other nonprofits. A scarcity mindset is looking at your budget and saying, we don't have enough to survive. We're barely making it by. So there's nothing we can do to be innovative. There's nothing we can do to reach people in new ways. Living from a place of scarcity is saying, we're on this team. How can we take care of what's happening in our bubble? And we're not going to look around and look for other team members. We're just going to take care of what's happening immediately in our space. Panicking when the numbers of our congregation are as high as they were 10 years ago, and focusing on that. That's looking at what you don't have. That's being afraid of what the next thing can be. That's not looking at the resources that you have as people. And whereas we look at this idea of plenty, when we look at this idea of having enough, what does that mean? Well, that's the beauty of this Holy Spirit moment in Acts 2. We see people looking around and seeing, we have enough. Jesus has been talking and preaching and telling people there's enough in our society to take care of folks. Why aren't we doing that? And so what we see in Acts is not a moment then to turn towards preservation, run and hide, he's abandoned us, we're moving. No, we look around and we see this moment where people say, gosh, we're from different places, and the people I'm standing next to, they have something to offer, and I have something to offer that I didn't realize was there, but because I have this sense of having enough, and of being able to move on to the next thing, we come from a place of plenty. And for me, that is an important part of this passage. What does it mean to be people who have enough? What does it mean to be someone who is invested in sharing what I have? Even if it's not $1 million, even if it's not as much as I think I should have, what do I have as a person? What do I have as a community? What resources do we have? Because they're here. And how can we build teams from that? How can we look outside of ourselves and find folks that have this plenty mindset with us? And so when I think of this passage in Acts, I don't think of the empire building. I don't think of the ways that harm has come to people. I acknowledge that that's a part of the history of what's happening, especially in interpretive moments. But what I see when I see this story, I see a people that had opportunities to either say, we're abandoning ship, we don't know what's coming, and we've got to just batten down the hatches. And that happened. I'm sure that happened. I'm sure that happened to many, many people in this space. But the story that we're hearing and the legacy that is left is that Jesus said, you have enough. I am among you in this new way, and you can do this. You are people of plenty. You are living as a people of plenty. And that is the gift. That is the gift that I leave for you. And that is the challenge and gift that I think that we can think about as community. Where are we living into scarcity? As organizations, as people, where are we living into moments of plenty? And what does that mean? How can we do better? How can we invite this fire of plentifulness into our space? And how can we model that in our world around us? And I know that will continue to be a part of what's happening here.
We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time. Into the well.
we extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
One more step, we will take one more step, till there is peace for us and everyone. We'll take one more step. One more word, we will say one more word, till every word is heard by everyone. We'll say one more word, one more prayer. We will say one more prayer, till every prayer is shared by everyone. We'll say one more prayer. One more song, we will sing one more song, till every song is sung by everyone. We'll sing one more song.
Thank you for being a part of this worship service today. Thank you for engaging in maybe new ideas, maybe familiar ideas. And thank you for taking some time to think about what it means to be people of plenty and to be living as a community of plenty. We began our time together with a singing bowl, and I would like to have our closing be a song that I wrote that's called I See Fire. So maybe a metaphorical singing bowl. In this song, I ask that you take a moment to hear what resonates with you, to maybe think of a phrase that jumped out at you during the service that you can take home with you and remember this time together. What seed has been planted? How are you going to live as a person of plenty? And how can this community change for ways that show and demonstrate others that this is a space of plenty? Fire. I see fire. It's burning for the answers, and I know fire. It glows brighter for a new day when it's fair, when it's fueled with the birth of a dawning. Watch it burn, watch it glow, we can't stop the light. But what if it hurts? Fallen ashes won't cry out in mourning, pillars must break. If they were a planet on false promise, so let it burn. Might our eyes adjust to a new light? Let it burn. It's time to get something true right. I see fire. It's burning for the answers, and I know fire. It glows brighter for a new day, and when it's fair, when it's fueled with the birth of a dawning. Watch it burn, watch it glow, can't stop the light. Can't stop the light.
If you are new to SMUUCh and want to know more about our church, please fill out the Get to Know You form using the link in the video description. And please stick around after the service for online fellowship hour. The link is in the weekly email.